Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special interview with our three first Global Tokiwaso Project candidates. We are here in Japan, and they are all here to debut as a professional manga artist in Japan. So I'd like to ask you guys to introduce yourself to start off.
Oh, sure. Hello, my name is Guillermo. I am from Uruguay, and I have been part of this project since like 1 year ago. And yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Perfect.
Well, hi, my name is Roxana and I'm from Mexico. And yeah, I have also been like 1 year ago in this program.
I'm Poodz and I'm from America and I've been in the program for 3 months.
Brilliant. And so for those of you who don't know, Global Tokiwaso Project is a special program that we have that's different than our regular manga program that is for advanced manga artists who are aiming to debut and become professional in Japan in the future. And for those who do meet the requirements and are really ready to get that final push, we will invite them to come to Japan and help to support those final steps to becoming a professional. Before we get to that, maybe you guys can just let us know what kind of manga do you guys make and what kind of manga do you like?
Okay, for me, I usually like shonen kind of manga, but also I like sports manga as well. And I think that influence that you can notice that when you see my work because I used to work on sports manga as well.
Well, for me, I really enjoy reading shonen and romance stories. So I think since I enjoyed that a lot, right now I'm making shonen story, but last time I did shoujo. So I like those both.
I kind of read whatever, like any genre. But I think maybe I lean more towards making like seinen manga.
Awesome. And for those who don't know about Global Tokiwaso Project, you guys have all come here to Japan to debut. So maybe you can let us know about, when did you start getting interested in manga, and what was your history like before you guys came to Japan?
Oh yeah, well for me, I used to read manga since I was 8 years old, and I used to draw manga since I was that age as well. But actually, to complete a whole manga, I started doing that like 4 years ago approximately.
Oh, so for me, I started reading manga since COVID. So that's when I get started like getting into the world of manga. And before coming here to Japan, I just finished the high school. And there in the high school, I one of my teachers encouraged me to make my first manga. So that's why I start liking like the idea to make manga.
That's amazing because it's actually relatively new for you to be getting into manga, right? You only started reading manga
Yeah.
during COVID, so like just like 5 years ago. Wow, great. For you, it's pretty relatively new that you started reading manga. So it makes me wonder about like, did you have an art background before manga?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, all my life I have like the drawing and like the artistic part. Since I was a kid, I started drawing, but never like oriented to the manga. So since like 6 years old, I started getting into the art world.
And how about you, Poodz? So what was your history with manga or art, especially leading up to before joining this program?
I think I got into manga when I was like 10 or 12 and I just started submitting to the silent manga audition when I was maybe like 16. And yeah, I don't know.
Did you win an award at that time?
Uh,
Gain some kind of recognition?
I think I got an honorable mention at some point, and then I won something in like 2019. I don't really remember.
Cool. So in order to join the Global Tokiwaso project, all of you had to submit at least a 16-page manga but I think all of you are now here in Japan, and you've now met some editors, and you've attended some mangaka conventions with us, and even yesterday you visited a major publisher. So I'm curious if you can introduce what your current projects are right now that you're working on. And even don't feel free to get technical, like how many pages is it? How many pages should we aim for? Yeah, starting from just like kind of bird's eye view.
Yeah, in my case, I'm working right now in two projects at the same time. One is a fantasy manga that I'm working to with an editor from Kodansha, and like he's really helping me out with like creating the whole world and stuff. And also, I am working on a sports manga with an editor from Sunday too. So I'm working on those two projects, and I'm also like thinking about working back on an old project of mine. So I'm with that project at this moment.
This is the sports one right here, right?
Yeah, this is my latest manga actually. This is the one that I showed to Kadokawa.
It's okay if I show the camera?
Yeah, sure. And
How many pages is it?
is 32 pages. And right now I'm working with an editor from Shogakukan, which is the one that also helped me out with this manga.
Cool. And it's interesting because when you first applied to us, you also came with a volleyball related manga, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is different than that one.
Yeah, it's different story and the format is different too. So yeah.
So you ended up having to change it along the way?
Yeah, it's totally different because the story is like different and also is shorter and like the kind of the characters are different too. So
Roxana, could you introduce your current project?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, the current manga I'm doing, it's like about. I wanted to talk about Mexican culture, even though now I'm going to change a bit because I have to adapt it to like the standards here and like for Japanese people to understand. So I just going to make like just a bit of Mexican style in there. But actually, my story is shonen, and when I first made it, I was thinking kind of like a type of Ghostbuster thing. So yeah, I think I have been enjoying too much making this manga, and it has been like 3 months now since I have started. I think a bit more, and it has 50 pages.
Wow, that's really long. It's not by chance, you said kind of related to like not Halloween, like it's not like El Día de las Muertes, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of related to that?
Yeah, sorry. Actually, when I was saying Mexican culture, I was thinking about the festivity from Mexico called like the Day of the Dead. In
El Día de
English.
las Muertes?
Yeah.
Yes.
El Día de los Muertos.
It's Muertos, sorry.
So yeah, it's very popular, but I think the only popular like movie I can say like everyone can know is like Coco. So you get like an idea what is like the theme and stuff like that. It's kind of similar.
Cool. Do you want to show the camera?
Oh sure.
This is just your first page, right?
Yeah, this is the first page.
Thank you. So for Poodz, actually, you just kind of won an award, right? Could you tell us about that and your manga?
Actually, I finished making my manga during my time here, and I ended up submitting it to a competition and managed to get an award.
That's amazing. Could you tell us what the manga is, what the genre is, what it's about?
I would say it's sort of slice of life and seinen. The manga is actually based on like very loosely inspired by the story like Don Quixote, and it's basically just like a fantasy manga about this girl and this old man who has a trash can for armor who work together.
I love that. So a lot of actually this kind of, when you start mentioning that you won an award, I start to think about, you know, a lot of people who are aspiring manga artists don't really know like what are the steps to becoming professional. So maybe I can ask you guys to give some information, and it will tie into our support because of course we're supporting you to become professional, therefore we are kind of helping you through those steps. But I thought it could be good for you guys to let us know if you don't mind.
Yeah, usually, if you want to become a professional manga artist, you want to be in contact with like a magazine, so you can get published, and that comes with an editor, which will help you to get your debut. So usually, if you want to get in touch with editors, you can apply to contests. That's probably the fastest way. But also you can work as an assistant that can lead you there too. And yeah, basically what we used to do is to apply to contests and also to go to events or comic conventions too. And yeah, that's probably the fastest way.
Is there anything you'd add, Roxana?
Well, I think Guillermo just said like all the process. So yeah, I think that's like the main point for you to get closer to an editor and for you to get published. And also like it gets time, so like to be patient for it and to keep like working on do your best every time you make a new manga.
Is there like a limit or a guideline for how many pages a manga should be?
I'm not sure, but I think it's like a 30 to 50, I think. Like there are some contests, like they put you on a strict page like number, but I think usually you can do up to 30 to 50. I don't know if I'm right.
I mean, I think it depends on the editor, and I mean they could recommend you different formats. For example, I'm working on two mangas for contest. One is 32 pages and the other one is 50. So
Yeah.
I think it depends. But also I wanted to add, sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but I
it's
wanted
okay.
to add that after you get an editor, that's just the first step. So
Mm.
then you have to like keep winning contests and keep like trying to get into your serialization. So that's just the first step. It's not that you get an editor and it ends there.
Yeah.
Okay. So to kind of recap, the first big step is to prepare a manga and submit it for a competition. And then if you win an award or win even, not even an award, but even what would you call that, like a nomination,
Yeah, a finalist prize, usually.
a finalist prize, then you can get maybe appointed an editor. And then after that, what happens actually?
After that, like in my case, they may like recommend to win a bigger prize and keep like creating new stories. So after you win several prizes and you are creating great stories, they probably will suggest you to serialize, and then you have to go through a process of approval, and then you might get your serialization.
As part of Global Tokiwaso Project, when you come to Japan, besides submitting to a particular competition, we also bring you to a convention, which is part of that kind of process, right? And we'll even bring you to some publishers. So maybe we'd love to hear from you guys about what conventions or publishers you've visited so far.
So yeah, we went to different editors. Like actually, you can like submit it online and got an interview with them and like show them your work. So I think that Tokiwaso Global Project really like helped us a lot with that, and we went to like 3 or 4 different magazines. We went to Kadokawa. No, sorry, we went to Shogakukan, to Kodansha, and to Jump the last year. And yeah, it has been a great experience because you definitely learn a lot being with an editor that tells you what you need to improve. And also we went to different like comic conventions the last year and this year too as well, uh, which was great to be in contact with editors as well. And well, this year actually like yesterday we went to Kodansha too. So yeah, I think that was pretty much the experience, and yeah, it was really helpful. Actually.
Yeah, I think it's really like I went with you guys last year with
Mm.
you two. You weren't here yet in Japan, but it seemed like quite a kind of special occasion talking with them, showing your manga, getting advice. Do you remember what advice you got from them, either at the conventions or the editors, and how that played into your craft after that?
Well, talking about the convention, I think I like the idea of this program for bringing us to the convention because you get the opportunity to talk like with a lot of editors. Like there are a lot of magazines inside, and I think that's a great opportunity for you to have like a personalized advice. Like the editors take the time to check your manga, to give you advice, to give you tips. So I think that's one of the things I'm really grateful for this program. And for the advices, well, for the most I have get, because always the editors tell me like for me to change maybe the story because it's not like understandable. And so I have been correcting that since the first time we went, and it's been, I think I have been like better every time, but they still be like more like advices for my manga. So that's good because that leads you to get better each time, even though I think like we will never stop learning. So I think it's good.
Yeah, I think the convention is a really good place to meet like different publishers and magazines because maybe especially for international people, there's very few publishers who are accessible unless, I don't know, you manage to search up the correct Japanese keyword. Um, I think most of the editors for me talked about like character writing maybe, which I think is pretty integral to manga and what makes manga different from like Western comics. But yeah.
That's a really, really good point, actually, too. I think one of, like, on the first day of our manga programs, like the second on the 2-week manga programs, that all of you were invited to join as well. We kind of start with that, like, what is the difference between manga and comics? Do you guys have any opinions or would like to share anything regarding that?
I think that actually manga are comics, and because I think Japanese people use the same word to refer to American comics too. But I will say that definitely manga has its own codes. Like, well, you can see that it's black and white, but besides that, it has like cultural things in in the content and also the drawing as well. So yeah, I think that the main difference is that manga is created for Japanese public, basically.
Yeah, one of the things that can be like different besides American comics and Japanese manga is that what we have noticed is that the characters in here in the Japanese manga are more like centrated for the reader to actually connect with the character. Like they also exaggerate the emotions. They exaggerate everything, like the expression, emotion, and the feelings. So that way, maybe the reader can actually connect with the character.
It's really interesting because I think that one of the teachers that we have in the program specializes in character and story development, and you all took the special class with him. Did you guys find it useful? What were your main takeaways from that, do you think? Do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember that classes with much love because I learned a lot, and it made me change my whole idea of creating a story. So yeah, I definitely will say that I'm very grateful that I had took that classes.
Do you remember like your thinking before and then how it changed you?
Yeah, before those classes, uh, like like Roxana said before, I like didn't think about the relevant uh, characters and their emotions. I just like thought about what happened in the story, not to who. And I think that's a big difference. And also, it helped me with trying to understand what readers want to read, besides what I want to write.
So less focus on just the plot and what happens.
Yeah, I mean the plot is important, but uh, no one is going to read a manga just for the plot. Usually, people are only interested in people. So what I learned is that characters are probably one of the most important aspects in manga creation.
I don't know where I heard this from. If it was from, that teacher or somewhere along the way, but I heard that if you make a really great character, even if your character is doing something as boring as just sitting in a ramen shop and eating noodles, everyone will be curious what's going to happen next and just be fascinated to watch your character eating noodles in a ramen shop. Would you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. And also, I think that if you have good characters, you don't even need a story. It's not manga, but well, I was going to say The Simpsons because I think that all people know that, and you can agree that in The Simpsons maybe the story is kind of like random, but the characters are so good that it doesn't need a story. Just random things happen. It will be interesting. Same thing happens with Shin-chan, for example. Like people like Shin-chan because of Shin-chan, not because of the story.
That's great. Anything you want to add, Roxana?
I agree with it, because I guess also it could be like sometimes I think the story can be like better than the character. So I think sometimes it could happen like the opposite, but most of the times, uh, the editors and the public is very interested on the characters. Like the character should be above the story and the drawing, I think.
Yeah, I think I learned the most. Well, I only had that one teacher, but I learned the most from them, and they were able to help a lot because I think they really understood the steps in how to create a story, and it was good to be able to bounce off ideas with them.
That brings up a good point in the program because there is a maximum of only 4 students. And we try to tell everyone who's interested in the manga program that it is very much workshop style. So I think you kind of alluded to that because you're able to get individual feedback throughout the program. Is that kind of your experience as well?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I think also a good thing was that the lesson was very specifically technical. Like, it's less about what kind of genre you're writing for or whatever. It's like, how can you make a good story regardless of sort of, I guess, like technically the labels you put on top of it, like, oh, it's a fantasy or it's for shonen or whatever. Like, that doesn't matter as much because like the foundations are being taught. So you're able to use that to create whatever kind of story you like.
And actually, we were talking so far a lot about character and the role that this plays. And I remember in the lesson specifically about character and story, one of the big takeaways is what to do in the middle part, right? Which is, if we think of like the introduction, middle part, climax, and epilogue of our stories, the middle part is where a lot of the magic happens. And I feel like it kind of is all about pretty much character development. And creating that emotional connection that you were talking about. But even from a technical perspective, which you just hinted at, would you say that there is a technical difference between some of the legacy kind of United States comics and manga? For example, how about perspectives? I feel like manga in Japan seems to be a bit more deliberate in terms of getting different perspectives on one page. Is that the case?
I think manga in general is just about the character's psyche, so that's maybe why there is more perspective. It's just trying to explain like the characters. Like, again, everyone said like the strong point about manga, I think, is its characters. So I don't know, I guess it takes like every chance it can to sort of emphasize that and like the differences between all of them and their dynamics. I have not read enough American comics to actually know, but well, I guess like sometimes they do it. Like, I feel like Archie Comics is sort of able to do that. Like, the concept is very simple, but I think it really is about the characters versus maybe like, actually I don't know, I really can't say because I haven't read it.
But it does make sense that perspective and character would play a role, because if you're playing with perspective along the same character, for example, if it's your main character, you probably want to get a close-up of their face sometime to show expression and really just kind of get the lemon juice out of that scene. So it is less just about your character moving across your story and more about zooming in sometimes and showing different expression. But anything you want to add, guys?
Well, maybe, yeah, I think that has a lot to get with it. But I also remember one of our teachers saying that, I don't know if it gets like very along with it, but one of the things that manga has a lot is that whenever you finish like one set of 2 pages, like you have to like get, for example, you got to have like the question at the last page. So whenever like the reader has to like flip the paper so they know what happened next. Like, you have to get like this interaction and like questioning them every time what will happen on the next page. So I think that's also very important to keep the reader like attached to the to reading all the time.
And you're kind of conscious of like, here's 2 pages that you can see together, and then you're going to flip and see 2 other pages.
Yeah, you have to get like this type of like
Awareness.
questioning. Yeah, like ideas, like, oh, what will happen next? So they have like to flip the page and keep reading and reading.
Cool. I think all of you, as part of the Global Tokiwaso Project, partook in the 22-week manga program. How was the 2-week manga program? How did it go for you guys? Any experiences you guys want to share?
Yeah, in my case, it changed completely my way of creating manga, actually. I'm really grateful with that teacher, because I think that they made great impact in my works in general. Like, even in the way of creating stories, and also my drawing skills. So basically everything.
I'm happy to hear that. Anything, Roxana?
Yeah, actually, the 2 week program teach me everything I know about manga. Cause yeah, since I was very new at that time for like everything, I was new in the world. So I think they teach me everything I know right now and how like I develop my techniques on how to read manga. And not just like the teachers, also you two guys also teach me too much. Like being on the program and being together like all the time, I think that also helped me a lot. Like when we get to talk and everything, we share our techniques. So I think that's one of the very good things of the program because you get to exchange ideas.
I actually learned the most like after the program, but that was because I kept talking to the teacher, and I think it really has to do with you need to get to the problem first and then ask for help so you can come to your own solution. But I think like the 2 week program is like a really good starting point. And I think especially if maybe you don't know that much about like manga creation or don't have that much experience, it's like very valuable because I don't know, there's just like so much you can learn, and the teachers just have so much like experience, and also they're all in like different stages of the industry, which is like always interesting to hear about too.
I really like what you mentioned about, and that especially in a program like ours, the 2 week manga program, which we think is very practically based. It's all about, we're going to set the goal of creating at least a fully inked 1-page panel. And of course, if you have other pages, it could be just roughly made. But to do even 1 page fully inked by the end of 2 weeks requires a lot of time and effort. And of course, to think about character and story and anything technical, it's all about encountering problems. It's just something you brought up. And I think that's the way that we approach it. And we think it's a good way to approach, manga creation. It's a very practical way to approach it. So you encounter problems, and when you do, you have the teacher there to help you get through it. And then what you brought up is really cool. I hear this time and time again from students who take the manga program, the group one, that they really, they felt like almost 50%, I'm not sure if the number would be exactly 50, but almost like 50% of the whole value of the program was the group aspect. Being able to stay up till 9 p.m. with other students, working on your manga. Is that kind of what you guys experienced as well? Like, did you guys stay up late together and bounce ideas together, things like that?
Well, actually, we haven't been like the three of us, like working on the manga on the same time. But last year, yeah, I was with Guillermo and other two students. So yeah, I think I didn't spend until that night, but there were times like we were all working on the same, like in the same table in the same area, so we just get like to ask each other's. Also, we still keep in touch, and we have a group where we ask like some of the students. They ask like, "Oh, do you know what's like this thing about, or how can I do this thing?" So I think that's good, like the team part. Yeah.
Yeah, and I personally think that the environment is really important when you want to learn something, because being surrounded by people that do the same thing as you helps you to improve and to meet different types of creative process.
All right. And on that note, I'd like to ask you guys about your creative process. So how do you guys, and this might tie into the things you struggle with, like what are the things you consider to be your strengths and weaknesses, your creative process, and the things that you struggle?
I think that the three of us struggle with Nemu, like the storyboard part, and I think that's like universal because um, I think it's the most difficult part of creating a manga. So I would say Nemu, but in my case also the drawing part. I think these two are great at drawing, so maybe they don't have the same issue, but I need to like search for a lot of references and methods and ways to overcome my difficulties.
Well, yeah, I think like each of us has like or a strong point, and like I'm happy like each of us got like different strong points, so we can ask the others like about their like ability to do something. So yeah, I think the Nemo takes time. Like it takes at least almost like the 50% of my time, like in all of creating my manga. I think it takes a little bit more time because it requires a lot of you, like for thinking and thinking and thinking. Like a lot of concentration. At least for me, it takes to me like too much concentration. But yeah, I think maybe all of the mangakas can get like through they get through it. Like maybe each time they struggle a bit, but maybe there are some people that it's easier for them, I guess. And like the part of thinking about new ideas, I think it takes time. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just agree with everyone. Like literally, the Nemu slash storyboard is like the worst, most diabolical part of the process. Um, and I think it is just because I think we discussed this before, but it's like making manga is like you are making a movie, but you have to do everything. And making like the Nemu is like when everything goes down. Like you are directing, you are writing, you are designing the characters and like composing the scene. So I think that's why it's so difficult because it's really just like you just have a blank piece of paper in front of you and you have to like create a whole story and like the whole artwork and make sure it reads properly and everything. So I think, yeah, it's just like Nemu is like evil.
Necessary evil, I hope. But yeah. Would you start with the story or the character?
I think maybe for me, I start with like one thing that I think is cool, and then I try to make something based on that.
Some kind of inspiration.
Yeah,
Moment.
like maybe a scene I want to do, and then typically after that, I try to work on the characters, because yeah, like everyone has been saying, like characters are a huge part of manga. It's like you can't just have someone like a yes man go. Well, I guess you could. I don't know. Like you can't just have a robot going through the entire story. Like I think their reactions and personality is what basically makes up a lot of the middle part, which is probably the hardest part. But yeah, and then after that, I try to connect everything, which is also the worst part.
How about you, character or story or something else?
For me, I think I got used to now when I'm writing a manga, well, because I like too much like the visual thing and the drawing part. I think first I imagine like what like aesthetic I want on my manga. Like for example, one central theme about my manga. I think, for example, in this one, I wanted to show like the folklore of the Day of the Dead at Mexico. So I think for me, that's like or I start like thinking, like having a brainstorm and just putting a lot of things that I want there to do like in there. And also I write like many references from other stories, from also movies, like books, everything. I write like where do I like I have an idea, I want like some part of it there. And after that, I start making my character based on that, because some of the times I have already like a vague idea of what type of character I want. As Poodz was saying, like to think about a central idea, like you have, for example, like, oh, I think this is cool and I wanted to put in my story. I don't know if that was the main point you wanted to say, but I think like, oh, this scene will be amazing. And besides that scene, I start like filling up the story. But I think I was doing it a bit wrong these times. So since I had like to talk with editors, I think I'll change my way on making it.
In my case, it depends, honestly. What I look for is just something interesting and usually something ironic. Uh, like it can be a concept or anything. Like, for example, if you think about Death Note, I think that probably if I had to create a story like that, I will first come up with the idea of a, a note that kills people, and then I will start creating the characters. But if you think about, well, my story, for example, I I thought about a guy that can only play volleyball for just 5 minutes. So in that case, I start with the character first.
It's interesting because even though it starts with a character, it's kind of a concept. It's like a special concept that sits at the center of your
Yeah.
story, maybe.
Usually, I try to apply that on characters because I think that's probably the most interesting part of manga. But it can be like the other way.
Right, like Death Note, where it's a thing.
Yeah, or Dragon Ball, for example, like s- balls that if you have it all, you can wish something. Uh, so I think it depends on the story.
Cool. And now that we're kind of talking about our different approaches, do you guys have advice for those who want to become professional mangaka?
I think advice is literally to finish. It's like literally just finish stuff. Because I'm sure like everyone has already said this, but like there is a ton of people who are like, oh, I want to make like a 50 volume manga. And I'm like, that's not how it works, because the industry is just really rough. So you should like you should just make a ton of one shots basically, and like if you need motivation, just do contests basically. That's what I did. It's like I don't know what to make. Oh, I look at the contest, it has a theme. Okay, let me make something and I can try whatever I want. And it's not like this is my magnum opus. This is not like I don't believe I'm gonna make Dragon Ball with this one shot, but it's you just learn a lot from the creation process alone, and just the fact of like having to finish a story. You just learn a lot from that in itself, because I think it's like anyone can write the start of a story, but like you just need to commit and like finish.
Actually, I think that's a great advice. And also, I think it comes along with my advice, which is to have like stamina, like resistance, because probably you're not going to make your debut in just 1 year. So I think that it's most important to keep trying and don't giving up than rather than like creating just one great manga. I think that you have to like build that stamina of keep going. Like it's more like a marathon rather than a race.
I can just say, yeah, I agree. I agree with like everything they say, and yeah, like every time, like I also would recommend to do one and another and another and another, because like making it too much time will make you be better on it. And I will also like recommend, if you have like friends and stuff like that, to show them your story, to have a different perspective, because if you get like different perspectives and like opinions, maybe you can see from another way your manga and get fresh ideas. Because sometimes we build like the manga, well, I used to build the mangas like for me, because I was like, oh, I like I think this will look incredible, but you have to do it for the public. Like you also have to think on them and what they want to see. So I would recommend that. And yeah, like not to give up and keep going and going and going.
If I can add something else, I think that it's also important to search for a good environment. For example, here in Tokiwaso Global Project, I think that we got this environment because we are constantly in contact with editors and stuff. But I mean, just by the fact of like looking for a job as an assistant or trying to apply to contests and things like that will make you improve because you are getting into the environment of manga industry.
Well, I think we learned a lot in this kind of long form interview, and it's really amazing that you're all three here, the Global Tokiwaso Project candidates, because everyone usually comes and goes on their own time, and so there's a rare opportunity to kind of have a panel discussion with you. For anyone who is kind of that they think that they want to be a professional mangaka in the future, regardless, even if you're a beginner now, you can start with one of our programs and keep in contact with us, and maybe we'll see you up here as a Global Tokiwaso Project candidate as well. And yeah, that's part of what we do here at DEOW, is not just train those who are in the very beginning stages of manga creation, but adding that final support and helping you on your first and middle steps toward becoming debuted in Japan as a professional mangaka. So thank you for listening to our interview, and we hope to hear from you here at DEOW Japan. Bye.